Happy Monday. Yeah, it's not a real happy Monday if you're a journalist, though. You know, it's been kind of a tough time for journalists the last year or two. Always had journalists being killed when they went to cover the war. But, you know, in the last year or two, we've had journalists getting kidnapped and beheaded. And now the whole thing in France, the Charlie Hebdo, you know, that's pretty scary stuff. I've had a couple of people ask me how it's impacted me. It hasn't impacted me. We're a little local community newspaper. But it certainly gives us reason to think a little bit. It gives you reason to think about what the whole concept of freedom of speech means. You know, I've seen a lot of people who said that the cartoons in Charlie Hebdo were crass, crude, in poor taste. But the fact of the matter is, it was their right to put them out. You know, we've run into some of that here. We've had people complain about things that we put in the paper before when we weren't being politically correct. In my career, I've been threatened a time or two. Of course, it really wasn't a real threat. I wasn't really in danger of somebody beating me up, or, you know, sometimes I was a little worried about whether they're going to key my car or not. And I've certainly been called some bad names. And I've certainly had some people say, you shouldn't have allowed that to appear in your paper. Well, I have to disagree. I have to say that as bad as it gets, you have to be able to say it. And, you know, most of the time I've found here in Long Beach anyway, that if you let the crazies have their say, they hang themselves anyway. They make themselves look bad. They show just how ridiculous they are. You know, we see that everywhere, not just in the newspaper. We try real hard here to make sure that everybody gets their say. I have a big problem with people who say that you have to be politically correct. I think I've made that clear a number of times. But the fact of the matter is, you have to let somebody say something before you can tell them that they're wrong. I'd much rather have an enemy that I knew than one that I didn't know. It's not a good time when you have people going around with violence in their hearts. You know, that's true for anybody. Of course I'm touched when it happens to journalists. But I'm also touched when it happens to a baby. I'm touched when it happens to somebody who happens to be in my neighborhood or my city or my country or my world. We need to find a way around that. Telling people that they cannot have their own say is not the way that it's going to happen. I hope you agree. Thanks.